My name is Victoria and I'm a chemistry tutor for Chegg. The concept that I'll be commenting on in this video is Faraday's law, and I'll be going over the basic concept, and then I'm going to do a practice question that you'd most likely see and then summarize it. If there's anything that you don't understand, feel free to contact me or any other Chegg chemistry tutor, and we'd be happy to help. This is just a quick summary and an example. So basically, the concept of Faraday's law states that during electrolysis, the amount of a substance produced is proportional to the quantity of electricity used. Okay, that's the first law. And when you're talking about Faraday's law in chemistry, you're most likely going to see it when you're talking about electrolytic cells. The equation is here in blue, and on the next page I've written out the equation along with what everything means. So Q is just the measure of electricity in coulombs, N is the moles of electrons used, F is Faraday's constant, so we'll be using that for all the equations, so it's right there. And then on the next page, our example. Calculate the mass of silver that can be produced by electrolysis of 1 mole per liter of silver cyanide using 800 coulombs of electricity. So we're talking about silver is going to be at the electrode, and it wants the mass of silver. So we're just working with silver, okay? So the first step in doing this is writing the half reduction reaction, right? So step 1. And we're just going to do. So silver is going to be reduced, which means it's going to gain an electron, and then it becomes solid silver. Okay, so that was our first step, right? We have our half reaction. Now, how are we going to calculate the mass of silver? We're going to use that equation that I talked about over here. However, we have to manipulate the equation so that we can get N by itself. So, number 2. Okay. So, up here really quick, just so you can see. So if my equation is Q equals N times F, we have our coulombs here. So this, check. Faraday's constant is a constant, so check. And what we need to find before we find the mass is find the electrons, right? Okay, so that's what we're working with here. So then I'm going to do N. I'm going to divide by F, right? So when you plug in your numbers, so that's 800 over Faraday's constant, which is 96, 500, okay. All right. So we do this, and this is coulombs. This is coulombs over moles. The coulombs is going to cancel, and we're going to be left with moles. Now I've already calculated this for the sake of time, but you can plug this into your calculator, and it would just be 8.29 times 10 to the negative third moles. Okay? Alright, so we have our moles, but that doesn't give us our mass, does it? Okay, fine. So that just means we're not done yet. It's okay. So how do we proceed? Well, remember that we have to take into account this is the moles of the silver electron. How many, the silver atom, sorry. That's the moles of the silver. So how many silver atoms did we have? We're just working with one here. So the number stays the same. Okay, so 1 mole of electrons, let me change this. So 1 mole of electrons produced 1 mole of silver atoms equals 1 mole of the silver. So the number that we found for moles is fine. Our number doesn't change. So we're going to be working with this number up here. And the next step, where we calculate the mass. So since we didn't have to change anything there, we're going to go to our last and final step, calculating the mass. Okay, so if we have the moles, we need to find the molar mass of silver. And you can do this by looking at your periodic table. Molar mass of silver is 107.9 grams per mole. Okay? And then here, we just need to solve, right? So we take that number. I'm going to do something so you can see better. All right, so we're going to take this. I like to write it like this so that you can see the units canceling out. All right, times the 8.29 times 10 to the third, which we solved for, and that will give you your molar mass of silver in this equation. Okay, so you see that the units cancel. We're left with the grams, and our grams are, let me write it in a different color so we can see, 0.894 grams of silver. Okay, so this is our answer. Okay, so you can calculate that, and let's just go to the summary page so we can recap what we did. Okay, so we wrote the half reaction, we calculated the moles of the electrons, we determined the moles of silver produced using the balance reduction reaction, and then we calculate the mass of silver using the molar mass from the periodic table. Okay? This is just an example. There are many other questions that can come up. But like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to get in touch. Okay? Thanks.